And happy Sunday. My name is Heidi Gould. My pronouns are she, her. I am of average height, wearing glasses today with short silver hair and wearing black. And I am this morning's worship associate.
Hello, everybody. I forgot that I was also speaking and providing welcome to everybody in the circle. Hi, I'm Jen Youngsun Ryu, and I use the pronouns she and her. Today, we are worshiping in a circle, and in the middle of our space is this lovely, lovely altar. And I want to say hello to all our Zoom friends. Hi there. Before we begin our service today, I do have 3 things that I want to tell you. First of all, we are having a Halloween party today at 5 o'clock. So come back for candy and very cute costumes. And even if you don't do trunk or treat or anything like that, just come and be with the community. And second, I want to say thank you to everyone who participated in the involvement fair last Sunday, for all the people who dragged chairs around and moved tables and sat at their booths, their tables, and talked to everyone about their activities. Thank you. It was a huge, huge success, and I think a lot of people really enjoyed that. And then third is, we have a new way of organizing all of the Sunday morning volunteers, like the people who pass out the orders of service, or the people who count the offering, or the people who make coffee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're automating all of that on a thing called Sign Up Genius. So if you would like to participate and help out on a Sunday morning, it's now easier than ever to sign up.
If today is your first time with us, please do join us in the welcoming room right after the service, which is in the South Foyer. The welcome room is located in the South Foyer, and it's a place for longtime and new members and visitors to come together and ask questions, answer questions, and get to know one another a little better. And also, if you're like me, previously, sometimes after service, I would wander around looking for a conversation to butt into, and if that didn't feel comfortable, I'd just go home. But now we have the conversation tables in the back, which have questions on a topic of the day, or long-time questions, general questions about you and what brought you here, and stuff like that. So please, if you are comfortable, you can stop at the conversation tables and get to know one another a little better. And if you are online, the link to our visitor form is being dropped into chat now. For those of us who are here for the first time, please do give us 3 chances. As you can see, today's service is a little different. It's a little different than it was last week, and it might be different again next week. So if you're looking for a Sunday home or a spiritual home, please do give us 3 tries, and hopefully you'll become a longtime member.
Today is our annual Remembrance service. This year, thanks to Rainy Night, she offered to share her indigenous ancestry by giving a class on sugar skull making yesterday, and so she also offered this beautiful, beautiful altar, ofrenda for Dia de los Muertos. This ofrenda will be moved after today's service into the chapel, and it'll remain there until November the 5th. So we will treat all of your items with great respect, and we'll be very, very careful with those items, and we'll move them in there. But if you want to take anything home, you can definitely do that. Day of the Dead is known to a lot of us as a Mexican celebration, but it really is a mix of pre-Hispanic and indigenous and Catholic customs, celebrating celebrated across most of Latin America. The holiday is an intimate time to pause, to stop, to remember those who have died, and to spend time talking with them, listening to them, and appreciating them. And so let us now enter a time of worship with our chalice lighting.
My name is Ryan Doppelmayr, and I have our chalice lighting for today. We light the chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, with words from Reverend Scott Taylor. We gather as a house of stories, as a shelter shot through with memories that speak, that long for us to listen, without which we easily lose our way. As we learn of those who have gone before, the way in front of us becomes more clear. As we remember what they survived and what they sacrificed for the faceless us who would come after, far beyond what we could muster on our own. Beneath this seemingly worn-out world, there are wells from which we can drink. Come, let our thirst guide us there. Come, let those sweet ghosts whisper their gifts.
Thank you, Ryan. And now let's say the words of our mission statement, which affirm our shared purpose. The words are printed on your handouts. Empowered by love, we transform ourselves and serve our world.
All right, good morning again. So my name is Ryan Doppelmayr. I am wearing a lot of black today. I'm a middle-aged, middle-sized woman with pumpkins and a witch on her shirt. And I'm going to invite anyone who would like to come up for a little talk to come a little bit closer. There are a lot of chairs closer to the front. A lot. So I don't have a story today, but I do have a wonder box. And I wonder what might be inside on this day where we are celebrating some of our ancestors. Is there anyone who has a guess as to what might be inside? Simon? A sugar skull. Ooh, we have lots of beautiful sugar skulls here on our altar today. Does anyone else have a guess about what might be inside? What's your guess?
I think I always guess animals, and I think it might be I think it might be like a little tuxedo kitty, and tuxedo kitties are black and white.
Okay, Ash is guessing a tuxedo kitty. We will see. Yeah, Ash.
Something to do with Halloween.
Something to do with Halloween. I think those are all excellent guesses. I'm wondering if someone here might want to help me see what's inside. Okay, never mind. Simon, you want to check it out? Okay, so we've got a few things. Okay.
This is a picture of The Simpsons and a frame. And a spider. Good job, Ash.
A picture of The Simpsons, a spider, and some people in a frame. All right. So, I'll start with our picture and our people in a frame. So, once upon a time, when this church was on a hill, there was a minister named Carolyn Colbert, and someone who did my job named Candy Cole. And these two folks were a great team, and they also like to be silly. So these are our ancestors. They are no longer with us here. They've passed away. They've died. But we can remember them and talk about them and have a lot of fun enjoying their memories, right? So Spider, Reverend Carolyn, loved spiders. I think it might have reminded her of this interconnected web we're all a part of. So I'm going to put the spider on the ofrenda for her. And Candy Cole, I will say, was all about the silly. She was a fan of The Simpsons. She was a huge fan of Halloween. That was her holiday. Whew. She liked to zombie it up. She also was a big fan of karaoke. So when we remember those who have passed away, we don't just have to be sad. I mean, dying is a sad thing. It sure is. But we can also have fun and celebrate and remember those joyful things that we shared with them. So I will put this picture of them here to share, along with The Simpsons.
This is our time of prayer, our time for lifting up joys and sorrows in our community, our time of sinking in, sinking down, grounding ourselves. So first, I'd like to share joys and sorrows from our community. We have someone who is mourning the loss of actor Matthew Perry today. Someone who is celebrating the blessings of crisp, colorful weather. And there is someone among us who's struggling with learning how to live with chronic health issues. And we have a joy, another birth. This is the third birth that we have been celebrating as a community. Joy for the birth of Charlotte Phoenix Warren Blades, child to Sophie and Cody Warren Blades, grandchild to Felicia and Daniel. Congratulations to the family. And finally, a prayer for a daughter and granddaughter, that they will come out on the other side of grief and enter life again with happy memories and enthusiastic living. A prayer for all of us. Today, I know that a lot of people are just carrying the overwhelming grief of the war in the Middle East. And I want to just open space up here within this loving, beloved community for you to be able to just tell the truth about what you're feeling. Not a political statement, not a thought, but a feeling. I am enraged that we have not been able to learn as a human species how to deal with conflict. What are you feeling these days? Despair. Hopeless. Helpless. Confused, frustrated. We are feeling sad. And some people are feeling joy about what's happening in the Middle East. No. Joy for something else. Yes. Do you want to name your joy, Nisko?
That I feel good.
That you feel good. Thank you.
Sorrow.
Yeah. Deep sorrow.
Confusion.
Confusion.
Why do innocents always have to suffer?
Why do the innocent have to suffer so much more? Fear. Anger. Obligation. There must be something that we should be doing. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Dreamt before this happened what it felt like to hide in tunnels. I didn't know why. Now I do.
A feeling of hiding. That sounds like fear as well.
It was fear.
Yeah, a lot of fear. And of course, there was another shooting, another mass shooting. More innocent lives, victims of our human inability to just live peacefully with each other. What a mad, mad world. And at the same time, it is a world full of beauty. It really is. This is the time of year when all of life feels kind of transparent. We can see maybe a little more clearly sometimes. We can hear things. We can sense things in the crisp, clean air. The trees are losing their leaves, which means that the sugar is rushing down from the canopy, down the trunk, into the roots. And I think the trees are inviting us to do the same thing. This is a time for dropping. This is a time for descending. This is a time for rooting. And so I hope that you will receive the invitation of the trees and the rain as it drops from the sky. Receive the invitation to drop down from the busy, thinking, buzzing head into the body, into the roots, into the earth. We all need to find some way to root ourselves and to ground ourselves. And each of you are so different and unique, and you're going to find your own way to do that. Whatever traditions you come from, whatever spiritual practice helps you, I hope that you will find a way to drop, to root, to ground. O holy mystery, O gracious and loving God, we call you by many names. Sometimes we don't call you by any name. You are life and you are love itself. Today, even as our hearts break and we are steeped in sorrow, we will remember gratitude. We will remember compassion. We will remember joy when we can. We will remember our loved ones and the happiness that they brought to us. Ago, it seems like just yesterday, but a long time ago, I lived in Korea and spent some time with my Korean relatives. So when Korea was colonized, about half of them became Catholic and the other half became Protestant. Well, there were others who rejected both, I guess. But half my family became Catholic, half my family became Protestant. And during that visit, I spent most of my time with my Catholic relatives. And they still preserved the old ways of setting up an altar on the anniversary of the death of the venerated ones, put pictures out, wrote their names in red ink, set out a feast. And then they would move the chopsticks from one dish to another so that they could have a taste of each of the dishes. Now, my Protestant, Presbyterian, and Methodist relatives said, oh no, you can't do that because that's ancestor worship, and you cannot have any gods but one God, right? But I thought it was a really lovely, lovely way of remembering and calling out the names and telling those stories. Because my parents in Ohio were so attached to being American and Christian, we didn't set aside time to remember the ones who had died. And I feel like that was a great loss. In this community, with UUs, I'm able to regain some of that heritage, and I'm so thankful for that. Calling out the names, saying the names, is an important part of our annual tradition. And so we will begin.
Let's start by calling the names of the members of this community who have died since last year's service of remembrance. Eileen Addy, Bambi Barth, Esther Erford, Kevin Forsyth, John Hartman, Anne Marie Hayes, Libby Mazary, Joyce Salisbury, Joan Seidel, Ed Zach.
For those of you who are on Zoom, if you would like to type in names, I'll call them out. I think we received one that was, oh, we received a lot of them. Let's see. Oh, Patricia Kriskow. And William Kriskow. Barbara Kellogg wants to name her dear friend James. James Jacobson. Kathy Forsyth. Greg Ellison, Ray and Ruth Brown, Tom Colgren, Mary Barish, Greg Ellison, Susan South, Billy Holgrave, Joe Preddy, Ethel Aronson, Evelyn Anderton. So if you didn't have a chance to put your photo or object on the altar, you can do that now. And if you want to just call out the name of the person that you're remembering today into the air, you can do that. Let's make a chorus of names and invite the souls of the dead to be with us, play with us, listen to the music, just live a little bit with us. Yes. Yes.
Andrew Ryder. Bill Ryder.
Mom.
Come be with us. Yes.
Herbert and Gloria Winnie. Frank and Loretta Run.
These are our ancestors. These are our friends. These are our mentors. People very important to us. We will not let them die in our memories. We'll keep lifting them up. Leslie Linden, Peter, Laura Lee, Dale, Mark, Anna, Beth, Sari, Mom and Dad. So many wonderful, wonderful people. We call them here together. We ask them to be with us. We ask them to give us some wisdom in times of trouble and confusion. We are here because of them. We are strong because of them. We survive because they survive. These words are from Howard Thurman. Oh, I need a mic.
I share with you the agony of your grief. The anguish of your heart finds echo in my own.
I know I cannot enter all you feel, nor bear with you the burden of your pain.
I can but offer what mine does give, the strength of caring.
The warmth of one who seeks to understand, the silent storm swept barrenness of so great a log.
This I do in quiet ways, that on your lonely path you may not walk alone.
Thank you so much. On August the 28th, 1995, 8 days after Erica died, she began communicating with her mother and stepfather. These communications continue to this day. Her stepfather was the UU minister that I followed at the last congregation that I served. And that minister has been very public and written publicly about his experiences. He says, along with much joy and laughter and love, she communicates the wisdom of a highly evolved being on the verge of moving to the next level of spiritual complexity. She gives us a glimpse of what is possible for all of us, and she shines a light to guide us in that direction. Erica was a young adult when she died in a fatal car accident on her way to visit her parents. Now, this minister had just been installed in that UU congregation, and as he and his wife shared these experiences, many of the UUs there had a very hard time understanding and accepting this family's experience and newfound spiritualism, and sadly, some pushed to have him removed. I hope that 20 years later, we as UUs have grown up some. I hope that we have grown more inclusive and more welcoming of all kinds of different beliefs. There was a time when spiritualism, communicating with the dead, found many adherents within Unitarian Universalism. I think this time would have coincided with the Transcendentalist movement, when our young adults were calling for a more expansive spirituality that included Eastern and indigenous philosophies. But then the very highly rational movement took over. in our congregations, and that put a quick end to spiritualism. And so I'm wondering, and I'm very curious to know, well, where are we now with this issue? And I would love to hear from you. Where are you on this? I mean, for me, I don't know. It's a huge mystery, and I'm okay with mystery. But I'm just wondering, have you had experiences where you have felt those who have died? Have you felt the souls visit you? Yeah, please.
My parents. Hello?
Yes.
Thank you. My parents have communicated with me through dreams, and I feel their presence. I don't see them, but I know it's them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I went through a terrible time when my mother died because she'd always been there. And so I was raised Catholic. So I decided that I'm taking heaven back. I love being Unitarian, but I believe there's a heaven. And I believe that my mother and father and my brother and my spouse, Marilyn, they're there, and I will get to see them someday. And I have to have that.
Mm. Thank you, Niska. Did I see?
Hi, I'm David, and I have not had these experiences, but my thought is, does it really matter? If it is comforting to these people, you know, why try to disabuse them of what we think of as their illusions, but it's meaningful to them?
So my grandfather died when he was 53, and my father died when he was 53. So 10 years ago, next month, when I turned to 53, I was a little worried. And my wife and I had been, for fun, watching this person on a TV show called The Long Island Medium, and was really like intrigued by her ability to talk with the dead. And so I thought, what the heck? So I went online and I searched for a medium in my area. This is when we were in Southern California. And I found Lori, and I talked with her before, and I had to sign this agreement that said I understood it was for entertainment purposes. And being the skeptic and scientist that I am, I was pretty skeptical, but they encouraged me to invite whoever I wanted to talk to. I wanted to talk to my dad. And after the meeting, I had that exact same thought. I wasn't quite sure if I really talked with my father. We recorded the conversation, and later my sister said, "Are you kidding? Did she say that?" But I was still skeptical about it, and then I thought, well, if this is at the least an alternative form of grief therapy, what's wrong with that? And for me, what I got out of that, I was very fearful of, like, when I die, I'm going to miss out on, I don't know, some of my sons getting married or grandchildren or whatever. And after that, I came away feeling, I don't know why or how, but I'm not going to miss out when this body is done. That's kind of what I came away with.
Wow. Great story. Thank you.
The saddest thing I was close to was a good friend's 17-year-old daughter was killed in a car accident. And my friend, her mom, is somebody who very regularly does have experiences with people who are no longer living. And we were all gathered at the house, and the phone hadn't rung, but somebody said back in the day when we had the message machine on the phone, on the landline, the light was blinking and the phone hadn't rung, and somebody listened to it. It was Carrie, the daughter. It was Carrie's voice, and it said, "I really miss you all." And we heard it, and the phone hadn't rung, and it was very moving.
I very much concur with the idea that of accepting all beliefs, provided they are not doing any harm. And the closest I've gotten was when my grandfather died, as I was sitting in the receiving line at his service in eastern Idaho. I had this vision of my grandfather meeting Charon, the ancient Greek boatmen who ferried the souls of the dead, and saying, this would have been my grandfather entirely, "You look tired, let me help, let me row." And then I realized that was utterly outside of his faith system. And so I quickly rearranged that for him showing up at the pearly gates of heaven and saying, you know, these gates squeak a little, can I oil them for you?
Well, Linda Foster, who was a sister of my heart, after she died, I had many, many dreams. And then, all of a sudden, they stopped. And my interpretation is that she's gone on to another plane.
I'm open. I don't know what to believe, and that's fine. I love the mystery. I have been with a fair amount of people as they've died, and there is an amazing difference. There is often a really felt movement that just speaks to me as the soul, the spirit leaving the body. And I used to hate the term remains, but I began to realize that's what remains after the spirit leaves.
Hi, my name's Emmett. I was with my mom when she died, and I watched her spirit, this vapor, rise out of her body and go through the ceiling. I don't understand it. I can't explain it, but I was really glad I was there to see it.
Let me take a moment and share something that came through the chat. I am a spiritualist. I can see and hear people who are not in bodies. It also helps to know that perhaps there is no time or space, as in quantum physics. It has helped because often I have an idea of what will happen. So there was, oh, yeah. Okay.
The nurses during the time of COVID probably experienced more death intimately than people have since World War II. And it was pretty horrifying for a lot of them, and they suffer from PTSD. But one of the things I learned is that even before that and since then, if at all possible, when someone dies in a nurse's care, she or he does their best to get a window open because nobody wants to trap that spirit in a hospital.
Thank you.
So I was not with my father when he passed away, but my sister-in-law was. My father waited until my mother and my brother were out of the room. And then my father was very near to the end, and all of a sudden his arms, both arms went up, and he passed away with his arms.
Did I see a hand over here?
The last couple of years, I've been doing a bunch of research on a great uncle who died under terrible circumstances, and it's been, I feel like I know him better. I never knew him. He died in 1943. And I feel like he has been with me along this journey, and there have been all these synchronicities and other people contacting me 80 years after the fact of his death, and it's all happened like in a short period of time, like in a 2 or 3 year period, and I've also gotten financial gifts that were very unexpected from that side of the family, so it's been very beautiful.
My maternal grandmother was in hospital and was dying, and at one point we felt she had left, and my mom and her sister were crying and on the phone and informing other family members. But then my Nana came back, and she was like, "Where'd the dog go?" And she's in hospital, so what are you talking about? What dog? She's like, "There's a little black dog on my bed." Well, she had had a little black dog who had passed, of course, in the past. And then my brother walked in with his wife, and I was there, and my mom and her sister, so there were people, and my brother came in and gave my Nana a hug, and she said, "Well, I didn't know I was coming back for a party."
That's great.
That's a beautiful story. I had a near-death experience when I was a child, and there's lots of reasons I was dying, but I was in a hospital, and I raised up, and I could feel around me this silver and gold cloud, and it was holding me, and I could hear the people speaking out in the hallway, and it turns out later that that's what they were saying and they were saying in the room. But as I rose up and I was going to leave, this voice came to me and said, "You should go back to your mother." And so I did, and I'm glad that I did, and what you said made sense to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for sharing stories. You want to hear one more?
Sure.
Okay. Chris, you're going to be our last story.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor. My dad was Keith Jones. He was the chief of police here in the 40s when I was a little kid. He was in law enforcement all his life, and I was very close to him. In 1990, I went to Nepal to take a year out and see what I could do in that culture. There was a lot to learn. I'm a meditator, and I was looking for a project of service. My dad and mom were lifelong Unitarians, so I was raised in the church. And I found out about girl trafficking. And it was the first time that it had been made public in the country of Nepal. And I was shocked and horrified. And out of the blue, I heard my dad's voice. He came to me and he said, "Honey, there are no accidents. You're here for a reason. This isn't right." I spent 2 years there. We started the first 501c3 rescuing kids. Today, we've saved more than 10,000 girls. That came from Dad.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you to all of the souls who have joined us today. I don't know about you, but I definitely felt something here. I did. I felt just a lot of love and appreciation in this room as the memories rose and as people were lifting up names, as people were thinking about their loved ones. I could just feel the vibrations in this room, and it's a marvelous thing to experience. I really thank you all for sharing in the creation of this circle, in the creation of this annual Remembrance service. Let's say together the words of our chalice extinguishing. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now, my friends, go out into this most transparent world. Go out and spread the love that you have received from your ancestors. Go in peace.